This is Andre Napier, and this presentation is on college readiness and parental involvement. So, what exactly is college readiness? It's the combination of skills, knowledge, and habits necessary to complete college level coursework. So, there are four main components to college knowledge or college readiness, and for the sake of simplicity, we will introduce them with verbs. The first is think, then know, go, and act. Think relates to the key cognitive strategies or the ways of thinking that are necessary for college level work. So when you think of problem formulation, college students should be able to ask certain questions or develop hypotheses with regard to the work or the research that they are presented. And even with research, college students should be able to collect data and interpret data and be able to communicate their findings with a certain level of precision and accuracy. Know refers to key content knowledge, or those big ideas, so to speak, from those core subjects that you took in high school. Now, these are things that most students should know well, and they should understand the structure and the knowledge in those core subject areas. That should allow most students to have some type of insight and retain the things that they are learning in college because they are built upon core principles that they learned in high school. Go is probably most closely related to parental involvement because it's the actual understanding of the college application process, evaluating how much it costs to go to college, being aware of the timeline, when to prepare for going to college, for applying for college, understanding what happens after college, thinking about your role and identity with regard to becoming a college student and what that takes, understanding self-advocacy and how to stand up for yourself and make sure that you know what it takes to have success in college. ACT refers to the key learning skills and techniques related to the college matriculation process. It's the ownership of learning with regard to goal setting, persistence, self awareness, and motivation, but it's also utilizing learning techniques such as time management, study skills, strategic reading, memorization techniques, and all of those things that will help you to have success in college. When we begin to examine the framework for parental involvement and support in the college readiness process, we first understand that the parents aren't actually going to school. But even though they aren't going to school, they can certainly support the process in several different areas. We've identified three main areas where parents can have the most impact with regard to helping a college student through both the educational process and the college matriculation process. The first is pre-high school choices and the things associated with school before high school. Next would be high school and the many different areas to consider when preparing for college. And then the actual college application process. So when you think about pre-high school choices, one of the first things to focus on is choosing the right school and or the right courses. Choosing the right school is critically important to the success of a student. Finding a situation where a child can be nurtured and grow and excel is very important, especially before high school. And in those cases where a child is going to their zone school and maybe school choice is not as much of an issue, choosing the right courses can be very important to a child's success. It's important to determine the resources that are available to your student, regardless of the school they go to. Even in schools that are zoned in your area, there may be infinite resources that are not widely known about. For instance, the state of Texas has a supplemental education resource that provides tutorials for many children who are not performing at grade level, free of charge. So it's important to ask your educators and the administrators at your school what programs are available for your child. Standardized testing can be an important part of the preparation process. It helps to determine whether a child is on the level for his or her grade. And sometimes, even when the kids are making good grades, if they're not performing at level, as indicated by these tests, it can be a good indicator and help parents to seek the necessary resources. When you talk about areas where parental involvement and support can have the most impact, uh, the first of which would be AP courses and testing. Making sure that your child is aware if there are AP courses available at their school, and also making sure that they're prepared for SAT and ACT testing, as well as subject testing. These are all um, elements that relate directly to being prepared for a college curriculum. The AP courses introduce high school kids to college curriculum in the coursework in high school, and the testing compares where they are in terms of college readiness to as with regard to other students in their grade. Academic behaviors would be the things generally associated with what is considered being a good student. For instance, regularly attending class, um, engaging in discussion while in class, um, preparing for studying and completing assignments. Generally, the basic things that you would expect that a college student would be capable of doing consistently. Extracurricular activities are important for both college consideration and for college preparation. Activities such as participating on school sports teams, participating in community service projects, or any of those things beyond classroom work help colleges to get a better idea of how much a student can handle, um, where their interests lie, and then also that they are able to do more than one or two things at a time. Now, while none of these things can be actually accomplished by the parent, the encouragement and support is critical to this process. For instance, with regard to AP courses and testing, um, those may be tough courses, and there may be a lot of preparation necessary to perform well on the college testing. But parental support and just knowledge of the whole process will make it that much easier for students. Encouraging good academic behaviors at home, supporting extracurricular activities, all of those things make a big difference in helping a child to be positive about preparing for college. With regard to the application process, parents can be instrumental in making sure that the college bound student attends information sessions and also can help in setting up interviews. There's quite a bit of things that need to be taken care of for a graduating senior, and it's not always easy for them to handle that heavy load. So, if there is a possibility that parents can assist in that process, it certainly could ensure that everything gets done and that the student takes care of all the things necessary. Financial aid is probably one of the most critical elements of parent involvement with regard to the college readiness process. Students don't always know everything there is to know about financial aid. They may not even understand what it takes to attend a school, especially if the parents can't afford it. They may think that if a school costs a certain amount of money and their parents don't have the money, that school is not a possibility. So, parental knowledge and involvement in the process can really help a student assess whether or not they are able to go to a school based on both uh, parents' financial means and the school's ability to meet the needs, the financial needs of the student. Another area where parents can be instrumental in the college application process is determining which schools are good fits for the student, or at least helping to determine that. The student ultimately needs to make the final decision where they need to go to school, but making sure the student has the opportunity to either research the campus or visit the campus, um, talk to people that attended the school, make sure that the school resembles a culture that is good for the student. All of those things are critically important to choosing a college. And it may not be as easy for a student to do on their own as it would be if a parent was involved. Some reports stipulate that too much parent involvement can be a bad thing for students. I would be inclined to agree with that. But what we are talking about with regard to parental support and involvement is not the overbearing parent. We're really talking more about a parent who understands the process and can confidently guide a student and answer questions and get information that is needed for success in the process. A parent that can identify when a student needs help and be able to find those resources for that help. All of these things are critically important in the process. And while an overbearing parent can really cause problems for a student, the non-involvement or the lack of knowledge of a parent can cause just as much, if not more, problems with regard to a student getting into college. So that's our presentation for today, and there will certainly be, this will certainly evolve as time goes by, but that's the basic components of parent involvement in the college readiness process.